see here. All right, so we're gonna go through a group ride breakdown, but my total ride was 64.6 miles, 103 kilometers, 3 hours, 16 minutes. 2 hours of it were riding down to the group ride, right? The section of the group ride that I did was only 12 miles, only 30 minutes. It's an out and back, so they go out, and that's kind of the climbing way, right? So it's you climb up, you sprint, and then you turn around and go back for a sprint. Okay, so I only do part of it. So the metrics here are only for the group ride. Average speed 24.5, which was pretty fast because there was only 2 of us really working at the front, at the end, and then we stopped at a stoplight and it messed it all up. Anyway, 36 max, heart rate 170, max 203, that came in the very final sprint, power 272, 1125 max. My 1 minute power 663, just about I think my best 1 minute power. My 5 minute power was 398. I've done more than that, but it comes in a way of kind of a unique way of pace lining and that sort of thing. So yeah, I threw down some decent power, man. Now look, group rides are super fun. Okay, this is a race ride, so the everyone here understands that we are going to be surging. There's going to be attacks. There's going to be a lot of tomfoolery, right, if you will. Like, this is what it's for. Most of these guys here are racers or wannabe racers, and so they're, sharpening their teeth here at this group ride. And these are fantastic. This isn't your coffee shop ride. This is not your no-drop ride. And so there are some of those, and those are fantastic. But this has its own unique reasoning that you would come to this, right? You come here to really test yourself against some of the fastest guys in your area. And for me, what I like to do is put, 2 hours into my legs, maybe even some intervals, and then do this ride right at the tail end of a big ride to sort of simulate the end of what a road race would be like. Because in a road race, you're 2 or 3 hours in, and then you have to make your best power of the day. What really separates pros from amateurs isn't their raw power numbers. It's when they can apply those power numbers, right? So hitting 400 watts for 5 minutes is probably not that, hard to do right off the bat, but it is very difficult to do at 3 hours in, right? So anyway, everyone's got their different goals and different objectives here at this group ride. Mine is to win. I want to win this, so I'm going to race it just like a race. Right? Everyone else's goals might be just to sit in, get the experience, and hang out. But who cares? I want to win. Okay? So we come to the stoplight, and this kind of messes everything up because usually this ride used to be full gas from the gun. Now there's no incentive to really try to break away because you're going to run into a stoplight, and then all your matches will be burned for nothing. But it's after the stoplight that the race really starts to get on. Now again, winning a group ride it's not super prestigious. I get it. I understand, right? Go win a race. Okay, cool. But I train really hard, and you gotta get some confidence, right? Winning takes confidence and believing that yourself that you can. And so I'm gonna try to do whatever I can to get that confidence and build that confidence. Because in races, man, I don't really do that well, and so I need something to push me, to motivate me to get out there and keep training. And honestly, doing well in these group rides, it does it for me. So we hit this little kicker, and this is the selector, right? We've got Jamin right in front of me from Fulton. Super strong Cat 3, right? Ridiculously strong. He starts lighting it up, and it's about a minute 15 effort on this climb, and maybe there's 15 guys or so with us. So this is going to be the decisive moment, right? If you can make it over this, it's pretty hard to get dropped. It's pretty easy to stay on. Now the thing is, on this type of climb, the first half, dude, everyone's on. You're still attached. It's what kind of power you put on the second half and over the crest of this little the kicker that really makes a difference. So as soon as Jamin starts to slow down, I literally just go out of my skull. I go so hard to try to drop Tony, our main sprinter, and just make it be just me and Jamin, or dude, I don't know, go solo for the victory over the top and that might be a far ways to go. But so you can see that my power, man, it stays pretty strong all the way to the very top of this. It only dips once I start to try to click into my big ring. And then again, I get into my big ring and I kind of power down again and make a kick. I start to look back and see what damage we've done. Pretty much the group is just in tatters. But Tony, the big old sprinter, has stayed with us. And that sucks. And so Jamin comes through to make his pull. And Tony is just on our wheel, which is not good because he's the sprinter. So then we come to the second little kicker, which you can sometimes make a selection here. The problem is that if you go too hard, and I can't underestimate Jamin, right? Jamin is a strong dude. So if I go too hard up this little kicker, he might counter me to come over the top. So I don't go full gas. I don't go all the way in. I just try to go enough to maybe drop Tony. I don't do it. He's sitting on our wheels. He's like, you look back and you go, hey man, you're gonna pull? And he's just slobbering all over himself. Jamin kicks up a pretty good little effort here. And you can kind of tell by his body language that he's hurting, right? Just the way that he's sort of in and out of the saddle and rocking. And so I know that I'm not in too much of danger of him throwing down some like heater attack. And pretty much at this point, we've thrown our matches at each other. But now Tony's still on our wheel, and this sucks because now that's it, right? Those two main kickers are where you really are going to drop the sprinters. And so now we're sort of on a downhill, and I got to make sure that I'm not going to just drag Tony around to get him, and have him recover. So I'm going to pull hard enough to stay in front of the chasing group. But I'm not, if I do 400 watts here, I don't think it would be any different. If I do 300 or 400, probably won't make any difference to Tony. He's still going to do it the same watts. Now, we come up to the stop sign and we got to follow all the road laws. So we stop, put our foot down, look both ways, make sure everything's good. Okay, cool. Following the laws, right? Jamin puts a little bit of a kicker, and now we're on a bit of a downhill. We're going 35 miles an hour, you know what I mean? And I'm doing 0 watts. So I know Tony's doing 0 watts. And I'm just thinking, ugh. And so now Tony is fully recovered. Very recovered, right? So, all about his science formulas, probably back there doing experiments on how much more energy he has. But so we get going here, and I see him take his first pull. Hey man, good job. Thank you for taking a pull. But then he swings over. And he's like, what are you doing, man? Why are you flicking your arm? Seriously? That's your pull, bro? And Tony's like, he's a sprinter. And it's just like, are you kidding me, dude? Seriously? We were homies. And so now I made a grave mistake. I should have attacked him way harder and way more and really made sure that he wasn't staying with us, because obviously he's in a mode of just hanging out and trying to sprint for it. So I make a little dig on this rise, but again, I gotta be careful with Jamin. Here comes Tony and makes his pull.
This shit's weak!
And then pulls immediately off. So his 1 second pulls. Good job, dude. Sick pull, bro. But that's like maybe his goal, okay? That's his goal, is to just stay with the front group. And honestly, Tony's never been with the front group in this ride before. He always gets dropped at some point, or a breakaway goes up the road. We almost get killed right here. Sweet. And so Tony doesn't really know where the finish is. And this could be his one time that he does this, right? That he gets the win on basically the climbers section, right? Jamin pulls off, and I'm gonna make one more pull, and then I'm just gonna sit on Jamin's wheel because I know Tony's recovering. So I'm gonna make this pull long and hard.
Long and hard. I'm sorry, Brian. Please continue.
So after that, I'm just gonna sit on Jamin's wheel. Tony is now pretty much recovered, and we're in this weird situation where everyone has thrown all the bullets at each other, right? We're pretty waxed. And so it's kind of like there's probably not going to be much more of a selection from here on out. We're going to probably just roll it in for the final sprint. Unfortunately, Jamin is just on the front because he's a beast. And, I'm trying to recover as much as I can. But I sort of have in my mind, I'm smoked because Tony's with us. So as long as Tony gets over the next 2 little kickers and into this final sprint, there's really nothing I can do, right? So this is the first of the 2 kickers. Jamin puts a pretty good amount of power down, but nothing really to separate, just hoping maybe, me, after having 2 hours in my legs, that I'm just cooked. Hopefully Tony, I don't know, gets a flat or something. I don't know. But Jamin's putting it down, and then we have the final little kicker, right? And then it kind of tapers off. So let me explain what the final little piece looks like. You've got this little incline, and then it sort of droops down, and then you have this flat, sort of uphill finish. So you have the finish sprint here, and not the finish sprint. Finish sprint, not finish sprint. Here's the finish sprint. You need a huge gap, solo, if you want to make it, solo gap from here to make it here, right? I don't think I have that kind of power, so I just got to stay on Jamin's wheel. Now, Tony hasn't been here, so he thinks this is the finish. And so all Tony has to do, literally, is just sit on our wheels. Jamin starts cranking it, and I'm not going to come around him because we still have a ways to go before the sprint. So I'm going to stay on Jamin's wheel. But then all of a sudden Tony comes, and I'm like, what is he doing? Why is he doing that? Like, all he had to do was just sit on our wheels. He had it in the bag. And so then he sits up kind of thinking, and I'm like, no, dude, he thought that was the finish. He thought that was a finish. Oh my goodness. And I just feel so bad for him. But so now I drop off because I feel like we're just gonna go this pace all the way to the finish. So I'm gonna drop off and then I'm gonna rocket around him, get all this extra speed. And right as I'm about to go, Jamin goes at like the point of I was the furthest back. So I'm like, no, I totally made a horrible decision. But really what ended up happening is that Jamin's looking back, like kind of looking down and seeing that I'm not there. And then he sat down. And so I've got a good probably 1 to 2 miles an hour top speed faster than him, and just come around and use that momentum to snake the W. Get the W. After 2 hours in my legs, I win. So let's look at it again. I'm back off here, and he goes, and I've got to cover this gap. Tony, super bummed, right? And I'm putting out, I think I did my max watts right here. Get a little bit of his draft, and again, it's sort of uphill, so just that extra 1 mile an hour that I had on him, just a bummer. Plus, you saw Jamin probably did the most overall work, right? Like I threw down 2 really huge efforts, but just as like endurance, I think Jamin probably put down more. But look, again, a win is a win, no matter how you look at it. I need that for my confidence. I feel good when I have some sort of victory, when I can look at my training and all the time I spend into cycling and have some sort of result from it. Look, I wish that I could win real races, but I'm gonna have to settle with winning group rides for now. And that will keep pushing me to want to get that awesome feeling of a win at an actual race. So anyway, guys, thank you so much. As always, Vegan Cyclist. Yeah.